Charles Coward was just an ordinary British soldier, but his life story is far from ordinary. When World War II broke out, like many young men of his time, he enlisted to defend his country. In May 1940, during the Battle of France, his unit was captured by the Germans and Coward was taken as a prisoner of war. This marked the beginning of a series of events so incredible they sound like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. Initially, Coward was sent to a prisoner of war camp. Life there was harsh, but he wasn't one to sit still. He made his first escape attempt, which failed. Then he tried again, and again, and again. Each time, he was caught and punished, but his spirit was unbreakable. His captors, tired of his constant escape attempts, decided to send him to a place they believed was inescapable, Auschwitz. Specifically, he was sent to the 715 camp, a labor subcamp of Auschwitz III, also known as Monowitz. This camp primarily held British prisoners of war and was adjacent to the infamous Auschwitz-Birkenau extermination camp. When Coward arrived at Monowitz, he was given the prisoner number 286. The conditions were brutal. Prisoners were forced into hard labor, starved, and subjected to unimaginable cruelty. But it was here, in the heart of darkness, that Coward's story took a dramatic turn. He noticed something strange. The Germans were meticulous record keepers, but their bureaucracy was also their weakness. He realized that his name, Coward, was being misspelled in various documents. Sometimes it was Cowrd, other times Covard. This seemingly minor detail planted a seed of an idea in his mind. Coward was a clever man. He wasn't just a soldier. He had a knack for observation and a sharp wit. He started to exploit the chaos and disorganization within the German camp administration. He learned German, which allowed him to eavesdrop on conversations and understand the inner workings of the camp. He made himself useful to the guards, not out of collaboration, but as a strategic move to gain their trust and access to more areas of the camp. He even managed to get a job as an intermediary, handling supplies and paperwork. This position was his golden ticket. While working, he saw the horrific treatment of the Jewish prisoners in the nearby Birkenau camp. The smoke from the crematoria was a constant, grim reminder of the genocide happening just a few hundred meters away. Unlike many who chose to look away, Coward was moved to action. He couldn't stand by and do nothing. He decided his purpose was no longer just to escape, but to help others. He started small, smuggling food and medicine to the Jewish prisoners. He would trade his Red Cross parcels, which contained items like chocolate, cigarettes, and soap for extra rations or medical supplies, and then secretly pass them on. He built a network of contacts, both inside and outside the camp. He even managed to get in touch with the Polish resistance. His most audacious plan, however, involved the very clerical errors he had noticed earlier. He discovered that the Germans were transferring some non-Jewish prisoners to other camps. He saw an opportunity. He began forging documents, creating new identities for Jewish prisoners, passing them off as non-Jewish foreign workers or even prisoners of war from other allied nations. It was an incredibly risky operation. One mistake, one forged paper that didn't look right, and it would mean certain death for him and anyone he was trying to help. But Coward was meticulous. He studied the German paperwork, the stamps, the signatures. He learned to replicate them perfectly. He would trade prisoners. He would arrange for a Jewish prisoner to be swapped with a deceased non-Jewish prisoner on the official records. He would report a non-Jewish prisoner as dead, take their identity papers, and give them to a Jewish prisoner, who would then be transferred out of Auschwitz to a less brutal labor camp. It was a macabre, high-stakes shell game, played with human lives. He once bribed guards with cigarettes to allow him to smuggle 200 Jewish slave laborers out of the camp, hidden in a wagon under a pile of empty cement sacks. On another occasion, he discovered that the Germans were using human fat to make soap. Horrified, He managed to smuggle samples of the soap out of the camp to the British authorities as evidence of the atrocities being committed. He even smuggled out photographs and documents, providing the outside world with concrete proof of the Holocaust. Perhaps his most legendary feat was his own escape. By late 1944, the war was turning against Germany. The Red Army was advancing from the east, and the Germans began to evacuate Auschwitz, forcing the prisoners on a death march. Coward knew this was his chance. He had been working as a representative for the Red Cross, a role he had cleverly maneuvered himself into. He was supposed to be overseeing the distribution of aid parcels. During the chaos of the evacuation, Coward saw his moment. He had a Red Cross uniform. He put it on, got into a Red Cross ambulance, and simply drove out of the camp. But he didn't just drive to freedom. He drove to a nearby German field hospital where he knew some of his fellow British POs were being treated. Posing as a Red Cross official, he inspected the hospital, then calmly informed the German doctor in charge that he was taking the British prisoners with him. The German, intimidated by the official-looking man and the chaos of the retreating front, complied. Charles Coward, the prisoner, drove away with a dozen freedmen in tow. After the war, Coward's story came to light. The people he saved, many of whom had no idea who their mysterious benefactor was, began to share their stories. It's estimated that he helped save the lives of over 400 Jewish prisoners. For his incredible bravery, he was recognized by multiple governments. The British government made him a member of the Order of the British Empire. But perhaps the most meaningful honor came from Israel. In 1963, Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center, recognized Charles Coward as one of the righteous among the nations, an honor given to non-Jews who risked their lives to save Jews during the Holocaust. His story is a powerful testament to the fact that even in the darkest of times, one person's courage and ingenuity can make a world of difference. He wasn't a general or a spy in the traditional sense. He was an ordinary soldier who found himself in an extraordinary situation and rose to the occasion. He saw the systematic dehumanization and murder around him and refused to be a bystander. He used his wits, his bravery, and his humanity to fight back against an evil regime, not with a gun, but with paperwork, audacity, and an unwavering commitment to doing what was right. Charles Coward lived a long life, passing away in 1989. He rarely spoke of his wartime experiences, but his actions speak for themselves. His legacy is not just in the hundreds of lives he saved, but in the enduring example he set. It is a reminder that heroism can be found in the most unexpected places and that the power of a single individual to resist evil and affirm life should never be underestimated. The man named Coward was, in fact, one of the bravest men of his time. Thank you for watching. If you found this story inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories from history.